Hi, Trina Wright here, and it is day 47 of 365 days of realizations. So here I am out on my walk. I just got home from being yesterday at the Abe workshop, and I realized my phone is at 5%, so I don't have very much to share, time to share anyway. So it was awesome. I loved it. I had a great time and all the perfect questions were answered. And I didn't get in the hot seat, but that's okay because the questions that I held were there. And I also have a deep understanding that it's the vibrational mix of everybody that's in the audience that really determines who gets called. So if my question was not that relevant because maybe people aren't reaching for that understanding in the same way that I am, then I probably wouldn't have gotten chosen anyway. So a couple things that I wanted to talk about very briefly because I don't have very much time is the concept of calibration, and I'm going to be getting into that more and more over the next few days. I'm actually going to probably take a few things and do examples with them. Basically, of course, as you can imagine, calibration is what are you calibrating to? So how do you calibrate to your inner being? Much in line with the things I've been talking about over the last few days, like what thoughts would your inner being think? Would they see something in the same way that you're seeing it now? How do you come back into that attunement? And the beautiful thing about the calibration process that they're teaching, and also that was about what I was saying just a few days ago, is that it comes often on the heels of something contrasting. So that's great. It is wonderful, though, to do the attunement, which is my word for calibration, all the time. So we start each day with it. We segment attend, as Abraham was mentioning. We tune in. We're constantly in a state of like, how can I be more attuned, more calibrated to my inner being? Because if something's going to influence me, as Abraham says, is it going to be, am I going to be under the influence of source, or am I going to be under the influence of that one or that circumstance or that condition? And as Bentino would say, are you taking your cues from the condition, or are you giving your cues to circumstance? Because they're very different things. So the calibration process is a process where you can specifically take a certain offness and move it through this process where you move back into it. And it reminds me a lot of the process I had talked about when you compare what you're feeling limited about to how your inner being would view it, and you see them as differently. So because of the time frame, I will get into that a little bit more in detail tomorrow. Suffice it to say that basically it's you take a notebook with 2 pages, one on either side, and on the one side you write the thing you're dealing with. You set that aside. Like, I wish the traffic would be better on my way to work. It's really frustrates me when it's not. I'm using an example that I know most of us would use just for the sake of examples. And then you let that go. You let all the emotion, all the feeling you have about it go. And then you come to the other side of the page and you start saying things to yourself like, I know that I create my reality, or I think everything happens randomly. And then you choose out of those 2 thoughts which one resonates better. And then you start somehow in line with the concept, but not directly tapping it, like in a more general way. Like, I feel like most of the time I'm in flow, or most of the time I have a lot of resistance. And then you pick the flow. I feel like oftentimes things work out perfectly for me, or things never work out for me. I feel like I can get myself in attunement with my inner being easily, or I don't even know what that feels like and it's hard. And so you go through these sort of sequences where you're choosing the under the influence of source thought, or the under the influence of the resistance thought. That's a good way to look at it. Is source the influence, or is resistance the influence, and which one are you choosing? And so as you calibrate, the recalibration process or the calibration process is coming back under the influence of source. So perfect if we start in that influence in the beginning of the day, perfect if we tune in during the day, especially something like segment intending, where when you're going to go into a new environment, or a new people are going to come, or you're going to move into doing something new, you take that few minutes to just make sure you're in attunement, alignment, calibration, whatever you want to call it, but back into that space and then go forward. So I guess that's enough of that. That's what I would share about that. So tomorrow instead, I will talk a little bit about just what I experienced while I was there, being in the room with infinite intelligence, my noticings, how it really plays out for me, and also some other reaching that I'm doing, which has been catalyzed by some of Bentino's work around like really taking it to the nth degree that I am the creator of everything, that nothing exists outside of me. The entire universe, everything I see is all just within me. That's an interesting one. So let's talk about that tomorrow. If you have any thoughts about the calibration idea, or you have some experience with it, or you try it out, let me know what you think. And tomorrow I'll make sure my phone is charged so we can have a little bit longer time. And anyway, I was excited. It was fun. I loved the date with my inner being. I'm gonna sneeze. Just being conscious just being conscious and present with myself. And really, I want to share a little bit tomorrow too about how that went. So I will talk to you again soon. Bye.